Why do I talk about victims in alcoholic relationships? It all started with a phone call February of 2025. This young lady who had been working for me for a long time, I knew that she was living with this guy. They were going to be getting married in Mexico. I was going to go to their wedding in Puerto Vallarta. She was always very excited, been with this guy. I never met him, but she always spoke really well of him. I get a call and she is crying. She is screaming. She's just out of control. And I thought maybe she had stolen money. I thought something really bad had happened. Well, it had happened. After I calmed her down, she told me that her fiance of 3 years, that no one really knew it, but he drank a quart of Tito's vodka every night. And he was starting to get mean. She was noticing when this first started happening that he would get aggressive, but it had reached to the point to where he had physically abused her, put her in the hospital 4 times. He killed her dog, which I don't know if that was intentional or not, but terrible just the same. And she told me that she had become an expert in repairing drywall because he kept knocking holes in the wall. Now, I was just flabbergasted when she told me about this. And I asked her, well, I hate this happened to you, and this is terrible, but what do you want me to do? Well, I need to know if you think I should leave him or not. And my response to her was, you get the hell away from this guy as fast as you can. Now, you're probably wondering why she had a conflict if she should stay or not. And this is the problem that a lot of people had. I didn't realize it until I started talking about it, because I would have always thought that the biggest reason why people stay in these really bad relationships above and beyond anything else would be money, that they can't afford to go. Since I started having these conversations, though, I found that that is not nearly as true as I would have ever thought that it would have been. What it was she was afraid of what other people would think about her leaving. She was afraid of what her family would think. She was afraid because her father had already dumped a couple of $100,000 into this wedding, and she didn't want to disappoint him. And I said, hey, I don't know your dad, but I can tell you, if you were my daughter, I wouldn't give a shit about the money. Your safety and your happiness would be first and foremost in my mind. The money, I could care less. But she's so worried about what other people think. That was the only thing that was making her hang on. And so I started telling her about the experiences that I had as a kid growing up with a father who drank a lot. He was an alcoholic. And lots of the things that he did were the same things that her fiance was doing, except my dad never killed any dogs. But it brought up such feelings because as I was talking to her, I was just basically reliving my childhood. I was reliving it. And pushing through all that was no easy task, because the same words that her fiance said to her were the same things that my dad said to me and everybody in my house. You know, you're a dumbass, you're stupid, nobody's going to love you, you'll never make it on your own. You know, this is the way you are, and this is the way it's always going to be. It took me a long time to fuel myself through that, to push through it. And in pushing through it, a lot of it was revenge. A lot of the things that I did in my life was basically to say fuck you to him. That was my biggest motivation. And trust me, it's good rocket fuel to use, but it will eventually play out. So you can't depend on that forever, because it will go away, and I found that out. But I made a video about it because I was passionate. And I really wanted to see this girl happy. I wanted to see her safe, and I wanted to see her away from this. So I made a video, didn't call her out. I never call anyone out. And I posted it on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and the video blew up. I've made a few ones that went viral since, but nothing like that. And I couldn't believe how much this message had really resonated with so many people. And in the comments, I'm talking to people, I'm getting messages from people. And that is where most of my content, 99% of it, actually comes from, is from the comments, questions, and discussions that I have with other victims. Because as far as I can tell, I don't know anyone else who's talking about the victims living on that side of the fence. Because my dad would stop drinking for a month and everybody'd be happy, everybody be congratulating him, but really nobody said anything about all of us who was victimized by all this crazy shit that he did. And I'm finding that to be true now. Now, I would have thought that all this happened 50 years ago. I would have thought that by now, with all the political correctness going on, with all this feel-good stuff on social media, I would have thought that that had gotten better. But honestly, if anything, I think it's just gotten worse. It's terrible, the stories that I hear. And the things that I talk about, I get comments and messages almost every day from people wondering if I have a video camera inside their house, because it's like I'm actually describing what's going on. So as much as times have changed, the things that go on within the walls of a house, that's the same. None of that's changed. In fact, if anything else, it's probably gotten worse. And why don't people leave? Because they're worried about what other people would think. I can't wrap my head around that. Why would you stay in anything worried about what other people think? There's so many people that won't leave because they're afraid they'll get shit talked by the other family. Okay, well, that's the other family's job to shit talk them. It's their job to protect their baby. And a lot of people think that I'm just talking about men. No, 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 no. There are plenty of female hot messes out there. Plenty of them that are just, if not more, destructive than the men are. It's just that most of the people that my message resonates with are women. Though I do get a lot of men in private conversations that tell me the same thing. I think the biggest reason for that is because most guys are not going to really talk about openly that they're having these problems at home. It's just not the guy thing to do. I probably wouldn't do it either if I were them. But the impact that the messaging has had has just, it's blown me away. It has just opened my eyes not only to so many things that are happening in the world, but, you know, at least once a week, I will get a message from someone. And this is sad, but I'm happy that my message is having an impact. I will get one message a week from somebody saying that my content has not only helped them, but it's helped them decide not to end their own life. And I got to tell you, if you love what I talk about or if you hate what I talk about, because I got plenty of haters out there, plenty. It's the best feeling in the world knowing that some terrible experience that I had in my childhood, something that I thought was just hell on earth, could actually benefit and help someone now. And it took this young lady who is one of my insurance agents. We first and foremost sell life insurance all over the country. That is first and foremost our business. But were it not for this phone call that I got, I'd still be doing sales videos. And I probably wouldn't be making that much impact in the world of anybody. Because Even me talking about this is embarrassing at times. But sometimes you have to be willing to get embarrassed, don't you? Anything that you really want to do, anything that you really want to accomplish, you're going to have to suffer some embarrassment, and you're going to have to suffer looking stupid, sounding stupid, and not looking like you know what the hell that you're doing. But that's just part of it. But my question is this. When you were a year and a half, 2 years old, and you were walking or trying to walk, you fell on your ass a lot of times. Did you really care what anybody said? Did you really care what anybody thought? No. You just got up and kept going. You just kept walking until you could walk. Well, what's happened? What's happened is there are things that you want to do, things that, if you will, where you want to get up and walk so that you can get up and run in different aspects of your life, and you don't do it because you're worried about the embarrassment. You're worried about how you're going to be perceived. You're worried about what other people are going to think. Let me give you a little secret on that. Most of these people, 99.9% of these people that you're so worried and concerned about, they're not even thinking about you. They're terrified of what other people are going to think of them. The only time they're thinking about you is if they see you on social media, or if they talk to you, or if they're in the gossip mill talking about you. Outside of that, they don't give a damn about you. They may say they do, but they don't. They're more worried about their life. It's like one time I was at the gym. One day I was at the gym in Tampa, and my trainer, bless his soul, was walking a new member around the gym. Overweight young lady who just by showing up was just a big deal for her because she was really overweight. And he called out the obvious to her. He said, listen, I know that you're thinking that all these people on these machines, all these people with all these weights, all these skinny women wearing yoga pants, you're thinking that they're all just looking at you. None of them are looking at you. They're too afraid that someone is looking at them. They're only worried about themselves. They don't care about you. They just care about themselves. And that's very true with things that you do in your life, almost everything that you do. But unless you're willing to go through the pain, you're willing to be embarrassed, you're willing to look stupid, whether that be to start a business or whether that be to get out of a marriage. If you don't want to do it because of religious convictions, or if you don't want to do it because it's not in your heart, then please, by all means, don't do it. Don't. But if your only reason is what the perception is going to be with your family, even with your children, with your church, with colleagues, with so-called friends, a real friend would understand. If you're holding on for any of those people, for any reason other than what is in your heart, you need to be willing to get embarrassed, and you need to pack up and go, or you need to kick them out, whichever one it takes. So yes, this is why I do the messaging that I do. This is why I talk about the victims of alcoholics and addicts. Now, most of the time I talk about drunks because that's all I know. I had no experience with anyone with any kind of drug addiction. None at all. From what I understand, it's all pretty much the same. I'm not going to pretend that I know. What's even crazier to me is the fact that I get messages from alcoholics, and some of them are actually really good. Some of them will say, hey, you know what, dude? I follow you. I listen to all your stuff. I'm an alcoholic. I'm everything you're describing. I have realized what an asshole this has made me, and how not only am I destroying my life, but the life of my family. I'm quitting. That's great. But you're going to get shit comments. I get shit comments every single day. From you don't understand to you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're not a doctor. No, I am not a doctor. You're not a therapist. No, I'm not a therapist. The only thing I do is help people through the experiences that I had. I spent most of my adult life in the sales industry. which I still am. And a lot of the things that I talked about in my sales training is about developing relationships, knowing when to walk away from those relationships. The same rules of dealing with your family are equally applicable out in the business world. So I did a book called Flinch No More, and I called it that because we were always flinching when my dad came home. We had no idea what his mood was going to be like. If he was going to be drunk, sober, happy, pissed off, if he was going to give us hugs or start swinging a belt. We had no idea of what was going to happen. So we flinched every time. And no one should have to go through their life flinching. No one should. And that's why I make the content that I make. That is why I do what I do. Not that I'm making a lot of money off of this. Actually, I'm making very little, and I have no aspirations to make a lot of money doing it because I have a very successful business. But just to be able to know that I am able to hand value to people that otherwise probably never would have gotten it, well, that's the reason why I'm willing to be embarrassed. I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing to look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Because if I'm just helping a few people, if my message resonates with just a few, then my work is done. So what I will say to you, any story that you have, it doesn't matter what it is, any trauma that you've been through, any experience that you've been through, any adversity that you've ever overcome, it's incredibly selfish for you not to share it with the world, because what you share will have ripple effects with people that you'll never meet, that you'll never see. I am quite sure that my messaging has had an impact from lots of people that have never even messaged me or even followed me on social media. I know that that has happened. So if you have a story, you need to be willing to share it, because the good that you will do, you keep hearing all this talk about giving back. I've always had a problem with that term, giving back. But if you really want to give back, you don't have to give back money or time. Just share your story and share how you overcame that. Somebody's going to appreciate it, and it is going to have a big impact on someone's life. Peace.